Hey, y'all. I thank y'all for coming and spending some time with me on Christmas Eve, you know, when you could be out doing stuff around the house and other things. Um, I really, really appreciate it. Um, I got all this notifications popping up here on this damn laptop. But, anyways, I did this last year, nose itch. And I was asked to do it again this year to read some Christmas stories. Um, and to help bring some holiday cheer back into to people who aren't out doing things or can't be with a family member, um, just to bring some holiday cheer to everyone. I'd like to say hello to Evil Rick, the Process, uh, our Hellfighter Steve Hill. You know, um, I thank y'all for joining us, joining me tonight. Now, this first story, I got a stack of books, but I ain't going to read them all. Um, I do have a few other things I have to do tonight, so I'm kind of allowing a couple hours if it takes that long. And I know you guys will be popping in and out through that time. That's fine. Um, but my first one I'm going to read comes from a dear friend, um, who has cancer. Her cancer came back, and her and her husband are down in northeast Missouri, and they're having a hard time of it. You know them as Nitro and Brat from Life Resurrection Project. Um, Brat has wrote 3 books, and this is her Christmas one that I have chosen to read. I'm hoping they do come in here tonight to hear the story be read. M.J. McCullum, as you will as you'll look for, her books are on Amazon. I'm not promoting Amazon. I'm promoting her books. Maureen McCullum, and the name of the book is "Enchanting Winter Rescue: A Silver Shiver Woods Christmas Tale." Yeah, it's about fairies and magic, people, and Christmas. Hey, Jamin, how you doing? You're out riding? You scum. All right. So, chapter 1 is called "The Frosty Awakening." Um, I'm just going to keep right on reading. I'm not going to announce a new chapter or anything or a name. I'm just going to keep right on going. So let's get to it. Bathed in the ethereal glow of the silver moonlight, Fairy Layla and Fairy Taylor found themselves standing at the threshold of the enchanted forest, a realm cloaked in mystery and wonder. The wings adorned with the brilliance of 1,000 stars shimmered with the talent magic that permeated the enchanted air. In that moment, a symphony of night sounds serenaded the fairies, the gentle rustle of leaves, the distant murmur of hidden stream, and the whispering secrets of ancient trees. The enchanted forest, our guardian of untold tales, seemed to hold its breath, acknowledging the arrival of 2 courageous spirits destined for a grand adventure. Now, when I was reading this a lot faster because I don't have to read it out loud. Fairy Layla, with eyes reflecting the luminance of the moon, shared a knowledge, shared a knowing, glance with Fairy Taylor, with a whispered incantation that resonated with the harmonies of the forest itself. The fairies invoked a spell that would open the portal to their extraordinary journey. How you doing, Lolly? As the final syllable hung in the air, a subtle shimmer enveloped them, and the boundary between the familiar and the fantastical blurred. The enchanted forest embraced them, its ancient trees parting to reveal a path bathed in the soft glow of bioluminescent flora. With hearts alight with anticipation, Fairy Layla and Fairy Taylor stepped onto the enchanted tail, the wings creating a delicate melody as they traversed the magical landscape. The air, now charged with the essence of ancient magic, seemed to carry whispers of unseen spirits, welcoming the fairies to a realm where every step echoed with the footprints of legends. The silver shiver woods beckoned in the distance, a tapestry of frost kissed branches and glistening pathways that seemed to shift with the very heartbeat of the winter realm. The fairies, guided by an invisible current of enchantment, followed along of the night as it led them deeper into the heart of the enchanted wilderness. I'm really liking this book. I, you know, I recommend you go check her out. As they ventured forth, the moon love as they ventured forth, the moon above illuminated hidden clearings where luminescent fairies flitted above, casting a kaleidoscope of colors. The fairies' laughter mingled with the rustle of leaves, creating a melody that resonated through the ancient grooves. That's not grooves, that's groves. And so, under the watchful gaze of the silver moon, Fairy Layla and Fairy Taylor embraced the beginning of their grand adventure, stepping further into the embrace of the enchanted forest, where every tree held a secret and every breeze carried the promise of the extraordinary unknown. The magical tapestry of their journey had just begun to unfurl in the heart of this captivating winter realm. The towering sentinels of this silver shiver woods soon stood like ancient guardians, their branches adorned with a delicate lace of silver frost. As Fairy Layla and Fairy Taylor ventured further into the heart of this enchanted realm, a hushed symphony played by the leaves welcomed them, whispering secrets of the wood's storied past. The air, charged with the essence of winter, carried the fairies through a labyrinth of towering trees and twisting vines. Each step revealed a new wonder, bioluminescent mushrooms casting a soft glow, and crystalline dewdrops hanging like jewels from the branches, reflecting the myriad hues of the moonlight. Snowflakes like ethereal guides danced around Layla and Taylor, creating a shimmering trail that led them deeper into the heart of the magical forest. As the fairies fluttered through the woods, they encountered glimmering clearings adorned with delicate blooms that seemed to bloom in response to the fairies' presence. In these clearings, ethereal creatures frolicked beneath the soft glow of the moonlight. Creatures with wings aglow with iridescence and beings made of living and starlight. The fairies' hearts swelled with wonder as they observed the dance of these magical inhabitants. The woods alive with a symphony of laughter and magical melodies. Yet amid the enchantment, the journey through silver shiver woods held its challenges. A mysterious sounds echoed through the trees, whispering winds carrying tales of ancient guardians and unseen watchers. The fairies, undeterred by the eerie echoes, pressed on, guided by the gentle glow of distant light that flickered like a winter's lantern, beckoning them toward the heart of the woods and the next chapter of their extraordinary quest. How you doing, Nitro? Merry Christmas to you and Brat. With each step, The woods seemed to shift, revealing hidden paths and secret groves. The fairies' senses tingled with the presence of ancient magic, and the very air seemed to vibrate with the stories woven into the fabric of the forest. The towering trees, witness to centuries of tales, stood as silent sentinels, their silver branches weaving in intricate tapestry of past and present. As the moon ascended to its zenith, casting an enchanting glow upon the woodland floor, Layla and Taylor embraced the journey through silver shiver woods, where every step held the promise of discovery and every rustle of leaves hinted at the mysteries that awaited them in the heart of the magical wilderness. Deeper into the heart of the silver shiver woods, the fairies stumbled upon a celestial clearing, bathed in the soft glow of moonbeams underneath the branches of an ancient evergreen. Thandor and Winterfur, Santa's diligent elves, were in the midst of a magical tune harmonizing with the whispers of the enchanted forest. Thandor, the elder of the two, greeted them with a warm smile that mirrored the twinkle of his eyes. In hushed tones, he unfolded the mystery of Santa and Mrs. Claus disappearing, leaving behind an air of uncertainty that hung in the frosty breeze. Winterfur, a spirited sprite with an impish glint, spoke of an ancient prophecy foretelling the arrival of fairies to aid in the time of Christmas peril. The fairies, chosen by fate, now stood at the nexus of magic and destiny. No problem, Nitro. I'm loving the story. After Christmas, I'm going to go get her other two books, and I'll read those as well. As the elves shared their tale, the clearing seemed to pulse with the energy of shared purpose. The fairies and elves formed an unbreakable bond, sealing their commitment to embark on a quest that would weave through the snow-laden trails toward the elusive frozen Whisper Village. See, I'm not perfect either. The prophecy whispered of challenges, but also promised the magic woven into the very fabric of this winter tale. And so, with newfound companions and a melody of hope lingering in the air, the quartet set forth, their footsteps leaving traces in the glistening snow as they followed the ancient path towards the next chapter of their extraordinary journey. In the warm embrace of their victory, the fairies bid farewell to the deeper dream. Sorry, farewell to the keeper of dreams, his eyes filled with gratitude and pride. They knew their quest had not only brought light and enchantment to forgotten dreams, but it also brought hope, love, and unity to its inhabitants. Leaving behind a realm touched by newfound magic, the fairies returned to Evergreen, their hearts full of accomplishment. They knew that their tale had just begun, and many more adventures awaited them beyond the borders of their beloved home. The Silver Shiver woods embraced Fairy Layla and Fairy Taylor, Thandor and Winterfur in an ethereal dance of shadows and moonlight. As the quartet ventured forth, the path beneath their feet transformed, revealing a magical trail of crystalline snowflakes and sparkled with every step. Guided by the soft luminance of enchanted fireflies, oh, I love fireflies, the companions navigated through the ever-changing landscape. Whispering winds carried tales of ancient guardians and hidden realms, adding a layer of mystique to the unfolding quest. Thandor, with his knowledge of the mystical pathways, shared stories of Santa's timeless journeys as the intricate web of magic that connected the realms of the North Pole to the farthest corners of the world. Winterfur, with her mischievous mischievous charm, lightened the mood with playful anecdotes from the bustling workshops of Santa's workshop. Yet, as the journey deepened, so did the challenges. The air grew colder, and the once hospitable woods took on an ominous hue. Strange shadows flitted through the trees. A distant echoes hinted at the presence of magical barriers guarding secrets yet to be unveiled. Undeterred, the quartet pressed on, guided by the belief that their quest held the key to restoring the missing warmth to the winter air. With every twist and turn, the anticipation heightened, and the air crackled with the promise of discovery. The elusive frozen whisper village awaited, and the mysterious mysteries that awaited there were destined to shape the fate of Christmas itself. No problem, Nitro. Um, I'm very honored to be reading this. Um, I'm glad that she's happy, she's smiling, and you two are having a good time. The quartet emerged from the enchanted depths of Silver Shiver Woods, greeted by the sight of Frozen Whisper Village, a quaint hamlet nestled in the heart of the winter landscape. Glistening icicles adorned the rooftops, and the soft glow of fairy lights illuminated the cobblestone paths. Fairy, now if I butcher this name, I do apologize. Fairy Junia, Jun, Jun, Judiana, no, Judian, Judiana. I'll say that if it's wrong, I do apologize. The guardian of Frozen Whisper Village awaited them with a warm smile. Nitro, maybe you could have or ask Brat the proper pronunciation of the name and type it in here so I can get it right next time. That would be appreciated. I thank you very much. Her wings shimmered with a iridescent glow that her eyes held the wisdom of countless winters. Judiana, Judiana. All right. Judiana welcomed the weary travelers, sensing the weight of their quest. As the fairies and elves gathered in the village square, Judiana revealed ancient scrolls that spoke of a celestial alignment, a phenomenon that occurred once in a millennium, foretelling both peril and possibly the missing Santa and Mrs. Claus. She explained were intricately tied to the cosmic event. Thank you very much. The village held cues, whispered secrets of hidden portal that could bridge the realms between fairies, elves, and the magical North Pole. Together they unraveled the threads of the riddle, discovered that the portal would only reveal itself under the light of the rare celestial event. Preparations ensued as the village embraced its role in this cosmic dance. The fairies, elves, and even the woodland creatures joined forces, adorning the village square with enchanted symbols and casting spells to invoke the celestial alignment. As anticipation filled the frosty air, the companions knew that the success of their quest relied on the alignment's arrival. In the heart of Frozen Whispering Village, under the watchful eyes of Fairy Judiana, The stage was set for a magical convergence that would guide them closer to the elusive North Pole and the fate defining chapters that awaited. In the tranquil moments leading up to the awaited celestial alignment, Fairy Layla and Fairy Taylor, Thandor, Winterfur, and Fairy Judiana found solace in the serene beauty of frozen Whisper Village. The air held a sense of anticipation, the villagers weaving intricate spells to amplify the magic in the air. As the night unfolded, the gentle rustle in the snow drew their attention, emerging from the frost-kissed trees. Very beautiful when they're that way. Nyla, the polar bear, padded into the village square. Her fur, as white as the freshly fallen snow, shimmered in the soft glow of the fairy lights. Nyla, the guardian spirit of the frozen wilderness, bore a silent wisdom to her gaze. She sensed the importance of the quest and with a nod conveyed her willingness to aid their cause. Thandor and Winterfur, with gratitude in their eyes, recognized Nyla as the ancient ally, a creature with connection with the essence of winter magic. Nice. I love it. Under the guidance of Nyla, the companions learned of hidden passages through the icy landscapes that would expedite their journey to the North Pole. With her formidable strength and knowledge of the wilderness, Nyla became an indispensable guide, leading them through the frozen expanses with a grace that belied the harshness of the winter terrain. The bond between fairies, elves, and the polar bear grew stronger with each step, forging an alliance that transcended the boundaries of their respective realms. As the celestial alignment grew nearer, a rhythmic crunch of snow beneath their feet became a harmonious melody of sympathy, of unity, and purpose echoing through the frosty night. See what happens when fairies, elves, and other animals work together? Things happen. Nyla, the wise polar bear, sensed an otherworldly energy in the air. Yet with anticipation came unforeseen challenges. Whispers of enchantments echoed through the village, and shadows flickered in the corners. Not me, not this shadow. An ancient spell woven into the fabric of the winter realm stirred restlessly. Frozen crystals began to crack, emitting an eerie glow that cast long shadows across the cobblestone paths. Hi, Shocker. How you doing? Merry Christmas to you. Fairy Judiana, attuned to the mythical energies, recognized the signs of a dormant enchantment awakening, a test from the very heart of the winter realm. The celestial alignment, through a beacon of hope, also triggered the release of ethereal guardians meant to challenge those who sought to tread the path between worlds. As the companions braced themselves, the village square transformed into a magical arena. Illusions danced in the frosty air, testing the resilience of the fairies, the wit of the elves, and the strength of Nyla. Each challenge brought them closer to unraveling the ancient spell, yet the path was fraught with uncertainty. Thandor and Winterfur, drawing upon their experience, guided the group through the illusions, revealing hidden symbols and incantations that would unlock the village's protective enchantments. Nyla, with her innate connection with the winter spirits, countered mythical disturbances with a calm resolve. How you doing, Ghost? Merry Christmas to you. Thandor and Winterford, drawing upon their experience, guided the group through the illusions, revealing hidden symbols and incantations that would unlock. Okay, I'm going to repeat this one even if I did read this. Thandor and Winterford, drawing upon their experience, guided the group through the illusions, revealing hidden symbols and incantations that would unlock the village's protective enchantments. Nyla, with her innate connection to her winter spirits, countered mystical disturbances with a calm resolve. I did lose my place for a little bit. In the heart of the challenges, Fairy Layla and Fairy Taylor discovered dormant powers within themselves, awakening magical abilities that resonated with the essence of the season. The village, once shrouded in mystery, began to resonate with harmonious energies as the companions triumphed over each enchantment. As the last illusion dissipated, the celestial alignment reached its zenith, bathing frozen Whisper Village in a cascade of shimmering light. The air stilled, and the enchantments, now allies, sealed their commitment to the quest. With newfound strength and unity, the companions turned their gaze toward the northern lights, guided them to the next chapter of their extraordinary journey. Beneath the ethereal glow of the celestial alignment, the companions, having overcome the enchanted challenges, pressed on toward the North Pole. Yet, as they ventured through the crystalline landscapes, the subtle uneasiness lingered in the frosty air. In the distance, a haunting melody floated, carried by the winter winds. Of the figure emerged from the shadows, clad in an icy cloak that billowed like a snowstorm. It was Lyra. It was Lyra, the snow fairy, once an ally, but now a harbinger of darkness. Lyra's eyes, once bright with mischief, gleamed with an unsettling frost. Her, her laughter echoed through the icy expanse of the as she un. All right, 1 second, please. All right, where was I? Lyra's eyes, once bright with mischief, gleamed with an unsettling frost. Her laughter echoed through the icy expanse as she revealed her sinister intent to disrupt this celestial alignment and plunge the winter realm into the eternal darkness. The very magic that had guided the companions now stood threatened by a malevolent force. Thandor and Winterfur, shocked by their fellow fairies, descended into the darkness, pleaded for reason, but Lyra remained resolute in her quest for power. The air crackled with tension as the companions faced the chilling reality that a friend had turned foe. Nyla, sensing the impending danger, stood firm. Her fur bristled with a protective energy. Fairy Judiana, drawing upon her ancient wisdom, recognized that the fate of the winter realm hung in the balance. The celestial alignment, once a beacon of hope, now became a battleground between light and shadow. A fierce confrontation unfolded. The companions Lyra, pitted against Lyra, icy onslaught. Sparks of magic illuminated the snowy battlefield as the fairies and elves fought to protect the delicate balance of winter magic. Nyla, a guardian of the frozen wilderness, roared, her presence a stalwart defense against the encroaching darkness. As the clash reached its crescendo, term in music all crescendo, the northern lights flickered, reflecting the ebb and the flow of the struggle. The fate of the winter realm now rested on the outcome of this icy duel. As the companions braced themselves for a final chilling confrontation with the once loved Lyra, now consumed by malevolent frost. The companions she will, brother. I can you can tell in your heart she will. The companions, their spirits, undeterred by the challenges faced, ventured deeper into the wintry wilderness, guided by the celestial alignment toward the legendary North Pole. The air grew colder, and now the snow beneath their feet crunched with a certain magical resonance. As they approached the final stretch of their journey, the landscape transformed, revealing the iconic candy cane striped pole that marked the center of the winter realm. Nyla, the polar bear, led the way, her powerful strides cutting through the snowy expanse. Thandor and Winterfur, through still haunt, though still haunted by the echoes of their encounters with the once trusted Lyra, found strengths in the collective purpose of their quest. The northern lights, a dazzling display of color, flickered above, casting an ethereal glow on the snowy landscape. The air hummed with anticipation. Let's do that one. Anticipation. Where did that come from? And the group felt the magnetic pull toward the heart of the North Pole. As they heard, the subtle jingle of sleigh bells echoed, mingling with the joyous laughter of mischievous elves. The scent of freshly baked gingerbread wafted through the air, a welcoming embrace that signaled their proximity to the workshop of Santa Claus. In the distance, the silhouette of Santa's workshop emerged, a sprawling wonderland adorned with twinkling lights and adorned with festive decorations. Mrs. Claus, with a warm smile, stood at the entrance, welcoming the weary yet determined travelers. I need to slow down just a little bit. I'm starting to fumble the words. The companions exchanged glances, the hearts beating in unison as they approached the culmination of their extraordinary winter guest. The North Pole, steeped in magic and mystery, awaited promising revelations that would shape the destiny of Christmas and the bonds forged through their enchanting journey. In the heart of the North Pole, amidst the festive glow of Santa's workshop, a sudden frosty breeze swept through the air. Lyra, the once mischievous snow fairy, emerged with unsettling determination in her eyes. The companions, their recent triumphs still echoing in the workshop's joyous atmospheres, tensed as Lyra revealed her newfound allegiance to the shadows. Her icy presence cast a chill over the room, and the northern lights outside flickered ominously. Thandor and Winterfur The betrayed elves exchanged a solemn glance, readying themselves for the climate confrontation. Nyla, the polar bear, stood as a stalwart guardian, her fur bristling with an energy that mirrored the tension in the air. Lyra, with an ethereal grace, conjured an icy storm and swirled around her. The workshop's warmth struggled against the onslaught of frost, and the companions found themselves in a magical battleground between light and shadow. The final battle unfolded with a symphony of clashing elements. Lyra's frosty onslaught, countered by the united magic of the fairies, elves, and the polar wilderness. Mrs. Claus, sensing the impending danger, ushered Santa to safety, leaving the fate of Christmas hanging in the balance. Sparks of magic filled the workshop as Lyra, once a friend, unleashed her frosty fury. Fairy Juniana, with the radiant crystal in hand, stepped forward, channeling the collective magic of the companions into the protective shield. As the air crackled with tension, as the opposing forces collided in a dazzling display of winter magic. Amidst the chaos, a moment of clarity flashed in Lyra's eyes, a glimpse of the friend she once was. The crystal overhead flickered in response, sensing the internal struggle within the once joyful sprite. As the battle reached its crescendo, a profound silence fell over the workshop. Lyra, her waning, frosty demeanor waning, stood amidst the remnants of the magical clash. The companions, though wearied, extended a hand, a gesture of reconciliation. Lyra, touched by the collective magic and the echoes of her former self, hesitated. The northern lights outside brightened, casting a radiant glow that seemed to envelope her in a cocoon of transformative energy. In that moment of uncertainty, Lyra made her choice, a choice to embrace redemption over darkness. The icy storm subsided, replaced by a gentle flurry that dissolved into sparkling snowflakes, each carrying a glimmer of new profound hope. Not profound, new founded hope. Sorry about that. The workshop, once caught in the throes of magical conflict, now stood as a testament to the power of redemption and unity. The companions, with expressions of forgiveness, surrounded Lyra, offering a chance for her to mend the bonds that had been strained. The final battle had not only saved Santa and Mrs. Claus, but also illuminated the resilience of friendship in the face of adversity. As the northern lights danced in celebration, the North Pole resonated with the echoes of a winter saga that had transcended to the boundaries of darkness and emerged into the everlasting light of Christmas magic. The echoes of the final battle with Lyra still resonated with the frosty air as the companions, wearied but triumphant, gathered in the heart of Santa's workshop. The northern lights, having witnessed the transformative moment, cast a gentle glow over the scene. Santa Claus, merry laughter echoing through the workshop, approached the companions with a twinkle in his eye. Mrs. Claus, her kind glaze filled with warmth, embraced each member of the group in turn, expressing gratitude for their unwavering courage. Thandor and Winterfur, the betrayed elves, stood beside Santa and Mrs. Claus, their loyalty reaffirmed by the shared trials faced during the quest. The once frosty atmosphere of the workshop now radiated with the glow of forgiveness and newfound unity. Elves with pointed hats tilted in curiosity, and fairies with glistening wings joined the circle of celebration. Nalia, Nalia, the wise polar bear, lumbered in, her presence a symbol of enduring magic of the wil- winter wilderness. Fairy Judy Anna, holding the radiant crystal, approached Santa and Mrs. Claus. The crystal, now imbued with the collective magic of the companions, emitted a gentle hum, signaling the harmonious convergence of the celestial alignment and the North Pole's enchantment. Santa, with a hearty chuckle, extended his hand to the fairy Layla and fairy Taylor. You have brought magic back to Christmas, my dear fairies. He declared, his eyes reflecting the depth of his appreciation. As the companions revealed with the joy of the reunion, Mrs. Claus, with a mischievous glint in her eye, led the group toward a festively decorated table laden with treats, gingerbread cookies, peppermint delights, and cups of steaming hot cocoa awaited, inviting the companions to indulge in the delights of the season. Oh, yes. The workshop, once a battleground, now transformed into a festive haven of laughter and camaraderie. Elves and fairies exchanged stories, and even Nalia found herself surrounded by playful sprites, sharing in the merriment. Amidst the celebration, the radiant crystal floated to the top of the Christmas tree, its glow synchronizing with the northern lights outside. The workshop, bathed in magical aurora, echoed with carols and the joyous melodies of the season. As the companions toasted to the success of their extraordinary winter quest, a sense of fulfillment settled over the workshop. The bonds forged in the face of challenges had not only saved Christmas, but had woven a tapestry of enduring magic that would echo through the winter realm for generations to come. And then in the heart of the North Pole, beneath the celestial lights of the surrounded by the warmth of friendship, Santa and Mrs. Claus, with the fairies, elves, and the polar bear by their side, revealed in a celebration that transcended the boundaries of time, a celebration that embodied the true spirit of Christmas. In the wake of the joyous reunion and celebration, the workshop Santa Claus shimmered with the residual magic of unity and redemption. The northern lights, painting the night sky with the vibrant hues, seemed to dance in harmony with the celestial alignment, the celestial event that marked the triumphant culmination of the companions' extraordinary winter quest. Santa, Mrs. Claus, Thandor, Winterfur, Fairy Layla, Fairy Taylor, and Nyla gathered at the center of the workshop, their collective magic resonating with the radiant crystal that now adorned the top of the towering Christmas tree. As the clock struck midnight, a magical hush fell over the workshop. The air itself seemed to hum with the energy of a thousand enchantments. The companions, surrounded by the whimsical glow of festive lights, and the echoes of laughter, felt a profound sense of fulfillment. Suddenly, the workshop doors swung open, revealing a breathtaking sight. The entrance to the North Pole aglow with the brilliance of the northern lights. The companions, drawn by an invisible force, stepped outside into a winter wonderland bathed in the ethereal glow of the celestial alignment. With a joyous ring of sleigh bells, Santa's reindeer emerged, adorned with magical harnesses that sparkled with the essence of the northern lights. Santa's sleigh, now a vessel of pure enchantment, awaited in awaited its annual journey around the world to deliver the spirit of Christmas. The companies, the hearts aglow with the magic of the season, joined Santa and Mrs. Claus in the sleigh. Fandor and Winterfur, now given, now forgiven and redeemed, stood alongside Fairy Layla, Fairy Taylor, and Nyla. The sleigh lifted into the wintry sky, propelled by the collective magic that permeated the air. As they soared over the snow-capped landscapes and twinkling city lights, the companions witnessed the transformation they had wrought. They had wrought. Houses lit up with the warm glow of hearths, families exchanging gifts and laughter, and children nestled in the anticipation of Christmas morning. All were touched by the magic restored. The northern lights, casting a vibrant curtain in the sky, shimmered in approval. The celestial alignment, now a celestial celebration, marked the end of the extraordinary winter tale, one that had seen the triumph of good over evil, the bonds of friendship prevailing, and the enduring magic of Christmas restored. With a final glance in the sparkling world below, Santa and his companions returned to the North Pole, their hearts filled with the satisfaction of a mission accomplished. The workshop, aglow with the aftermath of the celestial convergence, became a haven of warmth and joy. As the clock struck midnight once more, signaling the dawn of Christmas Day, the workshop echoed with the fading laughter of the companions, the magic of the season rekindled by their extraordinary journey radiated across the winter realm, promising that the spirit of Christmas would endure for generations to come. And so on, in the quiet moments before dawn, the companions, having saved Christmas and woven an enchanting winter saga, embraced the magical ending of their extraordinary adventure, an ending that marked the beginning of a timeless tradition of joy, hope, and the enduring magic of Christmas. Now, I am taking that to be the ending of the book. There's an epilogue, a winter tale remembered. Um, I will read that quick to you. In the days that followed the triumphant return of their extraordinary adventures, the North Pole settled into a serene stillness. The workshop, once bustled with activity, now radiated with a quiet magic of a winter haven. Santa and Mrs. Claus, surrounded by their twinkling lights of the workshop, recounted the tale of their companions' quest to the attentive elves and fairies. Fandor and Winterfur, now integral members of Santa's trusted team, shared their experiences with a newfound wisdom that spoke of redemption and resilience. All right, Steve. You take care and be safe, and Merry Christmas to you. Fairy Layla and Fairy Taylor, their wings aglow with the remnants of the celestial magic, fitted through the workshop, leaving traces of stardust in their wake. Nalia, the guardian spirit of the polar wilderness, returned to the frost-kissed expanse, her presence a symbol of enduring connection between the fairies, elves, and the magical creatures of the North Pole. The radiant crystal, once a vessel of collective magic, found its place at the heart of the workshop, a reminder of the transformative power of the unity and redemption. Each time it glimmered, it echoed the laughter and camaraderie that had saved Christmas and lit the way for a future filled with enchantment. A winter turned to spring, as winter turned to spring, and the snow gradually gave way to blossoms. The tale of the companion's winter quest became a cherished legend passed down through the generations. Children gathered around hearths with a twinkle of anticipation in their eyes. Listen to the recounting winter tale that transcended the boundaries of time. The silver shiver woods, frozen whisper village, and the North Pole itself became revered landmarks in the lore of Christmas magic. The spirits of the winter wilderness, the mischievous fairies, and the diligent elves all played their part in a story that symbolized the enduring triumph of good over evil. And so, with the closing of each winter season and the arrival of Christmas Eve, the inhabitants of the North Pole, by their fairies, elves, or mystical creatures, gathered in the workshop. Their companions, their journey echoed into the very fabric of the North Pole's magic, revealed in the joyous festivities known as the spirit of Christmas would endure, carried forward by the echoes of an extraordinary winter tale remembered. And that, my friends, is the adventures of Layla and Taylor the Fairies, Enchanting Winter Rescue, a Silver Shiver Woods adventure. I hope y'all appreciated that story. Um, Again, this is Maureen McCormick, otherwise known as Brat. Her husband is Nitro. Life's Resurrection Project. They do have a YouTube channel. Please go over and show them some love and support. They could use it. They could use all the support they right now. Um, my love is with you guys. And Brat, when I get your other two books, I will read them on here as well for you. Um, I didn't read the dedication, but it is, you're right, it is dedicated to mom. So again, please go over and show them some love, show them some support. Please. They are very good people and they do a lot for others. Now on to the next book. I've already burned an hour. um, like I said, I do have a few other things I do have to do tonight. So, but I will be ending with The Night Before Christmas, or twas, as they put it. Says The Night Before Christmas. So, last time I read A Cup of Christmas Tea and A Memory of Christmas Tea. Two very good books to read if you haven't. But we all know Frosty the Snowman, the story of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. But you are very welcome, Nitro. Very welcome, Brat. It's my honor to read the story to to read that book. I loved it. It was very well done. I loved it. Thank you so very much. All right. So I've got the cup of Christmas tea. And I think I'll read that, and then I'll read the memory of Christmas tree right after it. And then I don't know if maybe Santa Mouse after that, or Santa is coming to Minnesota. I'm not too sure. These two books, well, are a little bit touching. Makes you think. Spend some time with your loved ones because you don't know how long they're going to be here. The log was in the fireplace, all spiced and set to burn. At last, the yearly Christmas race was in the clubhouse turn. The cards were in the mail, and the gifts beneath the tree, and 30 days reprieve till Visa would catch up with me. And though smug satisfaction schemed the order of the day, something still was nagging me and would not go away. A week before, I got a letter from my old great aunt. It read, "Of course, I'll understand completely if you can't. But if you find you have some time, how wonderful if we could have a little chat and share a cup of Christmas tea." She had a mild stroke that year, which crippled her left side. Though housebound now, my folks had said it hadn't hurt her pride. They said she'd love to see you. What a nice thing it would be for you to go and maybe have a cup of Christmas tea. How you doing, Gunpowder? But boy, I didn't want to go. Oh, what a bitter pill. To see an old relation and how far she'd gone downhill. I remembered her as vigorous and funny and bright. I remembered Christmas Eves when she regaled us half the night. I didn't want to risk all that. I didn't want the pain. I didn't want to be depressed. I didn't need the strain. What about my brother? Why not him? She's his aunt too. I thought I had it justified, but then before I knew the reasons not to go, I so painstakingly had built were cracking wide and crumbling in an acid rain of guilt. I put on boots and gloves and cap, shame stinging every pore, and armed with squeegee, sand, and map, I went out my front door. I drove in from the suburbs to the older part of town. The pastels of the newer homes gave way to gray and brown. I had that disembodied feeling as the car pulled up and stopped beside the wooden house that had held the Christmas cup. How I got up to her door, I really couldn't tell. I watched my hand rise up and pressed a button of the bell. I waited, aided by my nervous rocking to and fro, And just as I was thinking I would turn around and go, I heard the rattle of the china in the hutch against the wall. The triple beat of 2 feet and a crutch came down the hall. How you doing, ML? The clicking of the door latch and the sliding of the bolt, and a little swollen struggle popped in, open with a jolt. She stood there pale and tiny, looking fragile as an egg. I forced myself from staring at the brace that held her leg. And though her thick bifocal seemed to crack and spread her eyes, her milky and refracted depths lit up with young surprise. Come in, she laughed the words. She took me by the hand. All my fears dissolved away, as if by her command. We went inside, and then before I knew how to react, before my eyes and ears and nose, was Christmas past alive and intact. The scent of candied oranges and cinnamon and pine, the antique wooden soldiers in their military line. The porcelain nativity I'd always love so much, the Dresden and the crystal I'd been told I mustn't touch. My spirit, fairly bottled, bolted like a child out of class, and danced among the ornaments of calico and glass. Like magic, I was 6 again, deep in a Christmas spell, steeped in the million memories of the boy inside knew well. And here among old Christmas cards so lovingly displayed, a special place of honor for the ones we kids had made. And there nestled in there beside her rocking chair, the center of it all, my great aunt stood and said, how nice it was I had come to call. I sat and rattled on about the weather and the flu. She listened very patiently and smiled and said, what's new? Thoughts and words began to flow. I started making sense. I lost the phony breeziness I used when I got tense. She was still passionately interested in everything I said, I should say everything I did. She was positive, encouraging, like when I was a kid. How you doing, Hound? Wolf and Hound, how you both doing? Merry Christmas to you. If you see Lost for Words and Brian, get him on here. Have him come give a listen. Simple generalities still sent her into fits. She demanded the specifics, the particulars, the bits. We talked about the limitations that she'd had to face. She spoke with uncanted candor and with humor and good grace, then defined the reality of crutch and straightened knee. On wings of hospitality, she flew to brew the tea. I sat alone with feelings that I hadn't felt in years. I looked around at Christmas through a thick, hot blur of tears. And the candles and the holly, she arranged on every shelf the impossibly good cookies she still somehow baked herself. Hi, Felipe. Felipe. I do believe Felipe. How you doing? Merry Christmas to you. Thank you. But these rich, Tactical memories became quite pale and thin when measured by the Christmas my great aunt had kept deep within. Her body halved and nearly spent, but my great aunt was whole. I saw a Christmas miracle, the triumph of a soul. The triple beat of 2 feet and a crutch came down the hall, the rattle of china and the hutch against the wall. She poured 2 cups, she smiled, and then she handed one to me. And then we settled back and had a cup of Christmas tea. That is a cup of Christmas tea um, by Tom Haig. As you can see, I don't know, you can see by the light. Illustrated by Warren Hansen. It's a very good book. Um, Started crying at the end because it is very touching to me. And, I am a sensitive person. So anyone says that chick flicks, I got 2 words for you, but I won't say them on here. um, Hi, XAN. Welcome and Merry Christmas to you. Brian and Lori, hello, Merry Christmas to you as well. I know you're there watching and listening. And now, A Memory of Christmas Tea by Tom Haig, illustrated by Warren Hansen. Now, if this brings a tear to your eye, it did to me when I first read it. So, sorry. Throat's getting a little hoarse, but I'm going to keep going. The Christmas list was growing as my time was running out. With empty hands, I headed home, a pile of work in store. I fumbled with my keys beneath the wreath upon the door. Make sure I got the right page here. I looked around. The tree was trimmed. The stockings were in place. The stage was set, and yet I didn't feel the slightest trace of Christmas in the air. It might as well have been July. The pieces didn't fit together, and I wondered why. I opened up the mail, turned the TV on and off. I listened to my messages and thought about my cough. December of afternoons were quick to darken into night. I stumbled to the kitchen and I flicked the switch. The light was blinding for a moment, so I had to shut my eyes. And when I opened them again, they fell to my surprise. Upon a sight I had seen so many times before, so often that I hardly even saw it anymore. My great aunt's Christmas china. I had put it away on display, exactly I had for years, upon the very day that all the boxes from the attic always came downstairs. How odd that something so well known should catch me unaware. She left the service and her cherished ornaments to me, requesting as her legacy a cup of Christmas tea that I would share with someone else, as we'd always done. My Christmas promise that I had not kept with anyone. I felt the twinge of guilt for that. Excuses left to mine. Both time and opportunities were things I couldn't find. My life was an emergency, a crisis, and a race, with problems running after me and at me at a pace that only was in accelerating as the years flew by. So if I couldn't shop for tea, I had my reasons why. And then I heard my parents, in my mind but loud and clear, reminding us reminding us to mind our manners. This is once a year. So please be careful at your great aunt's house. And we would leave all scrubbed within an inch of our young lives for Christmas Eve. A host of cousins, aunts, and uncles would be coming too. Oh, it was so exciting. It was all that I could do to keep myself from flying. Then we took that final right and pulled up to the wooden house. Activity at night, at light, activity and light. Where dancing in the windows and the laughter of the crowd came floating up upon a sugar cookie scented cloud. Come in, she laughed, the word she took me by my hand, and Christmas Eve began again, as if by her command. The years went by, and phrases such as, My, how have you grown? My, how you have grown, sorry, became, She really shouldn't try to do all this alone. Yet on and on she went, the last to sit, the first to rise. My great aunt with her family in dresses, coats, and ties. Then came her final dinner by the fragrant balsam fir. But Father Time, who claims us all, had quite a time with her. Though delicate and fragile as a fine bone china cup, no matter how he troubled her, she kept on looking up. And then at last she brewed her final cup of Christmas tea. She didn't do it all. She didn't do it for herself. I know it was for me. I saw her look me in the eye and ask of me, what's new? And I remember telling her of all I meant to do. I know that she believed me and believed in me, in spite of times that I had failed her, as I nearly had that night. I'd taken her for granted, and I grew into my prime, and now my old great aunt had lost the luxury of time. I didn't know that this would be our final cup of tea. I only knew that my great aunt was listening to me. She listened so that I would never choose to waste my days by going through the motions in a dim, unfeeling haze. She listened, spending down her last reserves of inner strength, that I might never settle for self-pitying at length, or hide behind my busyness, or use my hurts and fears to justify the compromise of conscience through the years, or ever be so ugly as to judge another soul, to put my greed and selfishness ahead of self-control, or dwell upon the negative, or wait for life to prove that everything would go my way before I dared to move. She didn't wish me money. She didn't wish me fame. She didn't care if throngs of people ever knew my name. She gave her final prayer that I might finally arrive, in faith that I could make it, find the truth, and come alive. I'd look into another's eyes, I'd trust and really see. I do for just one person what my great aunt did for me. I thought I heard a car pull up, and then I checked the clock. I had to start my pile of work, and then there came a knock. The door was double locked. I clicked the latch and slid the bolt. The wood was swollen, so I popped it open with a jolt. A rush of crystal air, a silhouette against the sky, a hush, a pair of eyes met mine. A gentle voice said, "Hi, come in, come in." I laughed the words as I took a hand in mine. And then it felt like Christmas, and the lights began to shine. The big bells began to ring, and spices filled the air. I think I missed a page. Nope. And all I knew of time was that the time was ours to share. I took two cups, I smiled, and then I saw a smile for me. We settled back together for a cup of Christmas tea. Now, I didn't say who the person was, but I believe it was his brother or someone he knew. And you could see I started to cry halfway through this because it reminds me that life is short. And there's people out there who care about you and just want nothing but your company, your time, and just to talk with you. A memory of Christmas tea. Fortunately, we all seem to be too busy for that. And maybe if we all just slow down and just think about it, go spend the time with our loved ones that just appreciate us for who we are, for us, and nothing else. They don't care about anything. They just want to be with us. That's Christmas, and you can see at the end of the book, the tradition was starting again. It kept it going. Traditions, people. Um, Gotta plug myself in here, otherwise I'm going to die. The computer laptop's going to die. Hang on out. All right, plug in. But traditions are important. Family is important. Everything else doesn't matter to us, but family. How you doing, Randy? Merry Christmas to you. Let's see who else I got is in here that I missed. I believe I said hello to ML, Xan, Wolf and Hound. If I missed anyone, welcome and Merry Christmas. Um, I have one here I have not read. It's called A Christmas Story. I have not read this one yet. And the print is small, so I kind of got to hold it like this if I want to read it. I'm going to give it a go. This was different from one from last year, so we'll give it a shot. Like I said, cup of Christmas tea in a memory of Christmas tree. It'll bring a tear to your eye. Um, it will. This is A Christmas Story by Truman Capote. Imagine a morning in late November, a coming of winter morning, more than 20 years ago. Consider the kitchen of a spreading old house in a country town. A great black stove is its main feature, but there is also a big round table and a fireplace with two rocking chairs placed in front of it. Just today, the fireplace commenced its seasonal roar. A woman with shorn white hair is standing at the kitchen window. She is wearing tennis shoes and a shapeless gray sweater over a summery calico dress. She is small and sprightly, like a bantam hen, but due to a long youthful illness, her shoulders are pitifully hunched. Her face is remarkable, not unlike Lincoln's, cragey like that, and tinted by sun and wind. But it is delicate, too, finely boned, and her eyes are sherry colored and timid. Now remember, I'm reading this cold. I've never read this before. Oh my, she exclaims, her breath smoking the window pane. It's fruitcake weather. The person to whom she is speaking is myself. I'm 7. She is 60 something. We are cousins, very distant ones, and we have lived together, well, as long as I can remember. Other people inhabit the house, relatives, and though they have power over us and frequently make us cry, we are not, on the whole, too much aware of them. We are each other's best friend. She calls me Buddy, in memory of a boy who was formerly her best friend. The other Buddy died in the 1880s when she was still a child. She is still a child. I knew it before I got out of bed, she says, turning away from the window with a purposeful excitement in her eyes. The courthouse bell sounded so cold and clear, and there were no birds singing. They've gone to a warmer country. Yes, indeed. Oh, oh, Buddy, stop sniffling biscuit. Oh, stop stuffing biscuit and fetch your buggy. Help me find my hat. We've 30. We've got 30 cakes to bake. Like I said, the print is small and my readers aren't helping me too much, but I'm going to get through it. It's always the same. A morning arrives in November, and my friend, as though officially inaugurating the Christmas time of the year that exhilarates the imagination and fuels the blaze of her heart, announces, "It's fruitcake weather. Fetch our buggy. Help me find my hat." The hat is found, a straw cartwheel corsaged with velvet roses out of doors had has faded. It once belonged to a more fashionable relative. Together we guide our buggy, a dilapidated buggy carriage, out to the garden and into a grove of pecan trees. The buggy is mine. That is, as that is, it was bought for me when I was born. It was made of wicker, rather untraveled, and the wheels hobble like a drunkard's legs. But it is a faithful object. Springtimes we take it to the woods and fill it with flowers, herbs, wild fern for our porch pots. In the summer, we pile it with picnic paraphernalia and sugar cane fishing poles and roll it down to the edge of the creek. It had its winter uses too, as a truck for hauling firewood from the yard to the kitchen, as a warm bed for Queenie, our tough little orange and white rat terrier who had survived distemper and 2 rattlesnake bites. Queenie is trotting beside it now. 3 hours later, we are back in the kitchen hauling a heaping buggy load of windfall pecans. Our backs hurt from gathering them, how hard they were to find, the main crop having been shaken off the trees and sold by the orchard's owners, who are not us. Among the concealing leaves, the frosted, deceiving grass, crackle, a cherry crunch. A cheery crunch scrapes a miniature thunder sound as the shells collapse and the golden mound of sweet, oily ivory meat mounts in the milk glass bowl. Queenie begs to taste, and now and again my friend sneaks her a mite. Though insisting we deprive ourselves, we mustn't, buddy. If we start, we won't stop, and there's scarcely enough as there is for 30 cakes. The kitchen is growing dark. Dust turns the window into a mirror. Our reflections mingle with the rising moon as we work by the fireside in the firelight. At least, when the moon is quite high, we toss the final hull into the fire, and with joined sighs watch it catch flame. The buggy is empty, the bowl is brimful. We eat our supper, cold biscuits, bacon, blackberry jam, and discuss tomorrow. Tomorrow, the kind of work I like best begins buying cherries and citrons, ginger and vanilla and canned Hawaiian pineapple, rinds and raisins and walnuts and whiskey and oh, so much flour, butter, so many eggs, spices, flavorings, and we'll all need a pony to pull the buggy home. Whiskey, really? Whiskey? Why not rum or something? But before the purchases can be made, there is the question of money. Neither of us has any, except for the skinflint sums persons in the house occasionally provide. A dime is considered very big money. Or what we earn ourselves from various activities, holding rummage sales, selling buckets of hand-picked blackberries, jars of homemade jam and apple jelly, and peach preserves, rounding up flowers for funerals and weddings. Once we won the 79th prize, $5, in a national football contest. Not that we know a fool thing about football. It's just that we enter any contest we hear about. At the moment, our hopes are centered on the $50,000 grand prize being offered to name a new brand of coffee. We suggested AM, and after some hesitations, for my friend thought it would perhaps I can't pronounce that word. To tell the truth, our only really profitable enterprise was the fun and freak museum we conducted in the backyard woodshed 2 summers ago. The fun was stereo station with slide views of Washington and New York lent us by a relative who had been to those places. She was furious when she discovered why we'd borrowed it. The freak was a three-legged bitty chicken hatched by one of our own hens. Everybody hereabouts wanted to see that bitty. We charged grown-ups a nickel, kids 2 cents, and took in a good $20 before the museum shut down due to the decrease of the main attraction, the deceased. But one way and another, we do each year accumulate Christmas savings, a fruitcake fund. These monies we keep hidden in an ancient bread purse under a loose board under the floor, under a chamber pot under my friend's bed. The purse is seldom removed from its safe location except to make a deposit, or, as happens every Saturday, a withdrawal for on Saturdays I am allowed 10 cents to go to the picture show. My friend has never been to a picture show, nor does she intend to. I'd rather hear you tell the story, buddy. That way I can imagine it more. Besides, a person my age shouldn't squander their eyes. When the Lord comes, let me see him clear. In addition to never having seen a movie, she has never eaten in a restaurant, traveled more than 5 miles from home, received or sent a telegram, read anything except funny papers and the Bible, worn cosmetics, cursed, wished someone harm, told a lie on purpose, let a hungry dog go hungry. Here are a few things she has done. Does do, killed with a hole the biggest rattlesnake ever seen in this country, 16 rattles. Dip snuff, secretly. Tame hummingbirds, just try it, until they balance on her finger. Tell ghost stories, so tinglingly they chill you in July. Talk to herself, take walks in the rain. Grow the prettiest japonicas in town. Show the recipe for every sort of old-time Indian cure, including a magical wart remover. This has proven to be a little bit difficult. But I'm trying. I'm keeping it going. Now with supper finished, we retire to the room in the faraway part of the house where my friend sleeps in a scrap quilted covered iron bed painted rose pink. Her favorite color silently swallowing. I don't think that is right. Let's see if I can put that up here. All right. Bed painted rose pink. Her favorite color, silently wallowing in the pleasures of conspiracy. We take the bead purse from its secret place and spill its contents on this scrap quilt. Dollar bills, tightly rolled and green as maybuds, somber 50-cent pieces, heavy enough to weight a dead man's eyes, lovely dimes, the liveliest coin, the one that really jingles, nickels and quarters, worn smooth and as creek pebbles, but mostly a hateful heap of bitter adorned pennies, Last summer, others in the house contracted to pay us a penny for every 25 flies we killed. Oh, the carnage of August! The flies that flew to heaven, yet it was not work in which we took pride. And as we sit counting pennies, it is as though we were back tabulating dead flies. Neither of us had a head for neither of us had a head for figures. We count slowly, lose track, start again. According to her calculations, we have $12.73. According to mine, exactly $13. I do hope you're wrong, buddy. We can't mess around with 13. The cakes will fall. Or put somebody out in the cemetery. Why, I wouldn't dream of getting out of bed on the 13th. This is true. She always spends 13s in bed. So to be on the safe side, we subtracted a penny and tossed it out the window. Of the ingredients that go into our fruitcakes, whiskey is the most expensive, as well as the hardest to obtain. State laws forbid its sale, but everybody knows you can buy a bottle from Mr. Ha Ha Jones, and the next day, having completed our more prosaic shopping, we set out for Mr. Ha Ha's business address, a sinful fish fry and dancing cafe down the river. We've been there before, and on the same errand, put in previous years, our dealings have been with Haha's wife, an iodine, dark Indian woman with brassy, peroxided hair and a dear, tired disposition. Actually, we've never laid eyes on her husband, though we've heard that he's an Indian too. A giant with razor scars across his cheeks. They call him Haha because he's so gloomy, a man who never laughs. And as we approach his cafe, a large log cabin festooned inside and out with chains of garish gray naked light and bulbs, standing by the river's muddy edge under the shade of river trees, and moss drifts among the branches like gray mist. Our steps slow down. Even Queenie stops prancing and sticks close by. People have been murdered in Haha's cafe, cut to pieces, hit on the head. There's a case coming up in court next month. Naturally, these goings on happen at night when the colored lights cast patterns and the Victrola wails. In the daytime, Haha is shabby and deserted. I knock on the door. Queenie barks. My friend calls. Mrs. Haha, ma'am, anyone home? For a Christmas story, this sure is kind of a dark and dreary. Christmas Carol's better than this. Footsteps. The door opens. Our hearts overturn. It's Mr. Ha Ha Jones himself, and he's a giant, and he does have scars. He doesn't smile. No, he glowers at us through Satan tilted eyes and demands to know what you want with Ha Ha. For a moment, we are too paralyzed to tell. Presently, my friend half finds her voice, a whispery voice at best. If you please, Mr. Haha, we'd like a quart of your finest whiskey. His eyes tilted more. Would you believe it? Haha is smiling, laughing too. Which one of you is a drinking man? It's for making fruit cakes, Mr. Haha cooking. This sobers him. He frowns. That's no to waste good whiskey. Nevertheless, he retreats into the shadowed cafe, and seconds later appears carrying a bottle of daisy yellow, unlabeled liquor. He demonstrates its sparkle in the sunlight and says, $2. We pay him with nickels and dimes and pennies. Suddenly, as he jangles the coins in his hand like a fistful of dice, his face softens. Tell you what. He proposes pouring the money back into our bead our bead purse. Just send me one of them fruitcakes instead. Well, my friend remarks on our way home, there's a lovely man will put an extra cup of raisins in his cake. Thank you, ML. Thank you. The black stove, stoked with coal and firewood, glows like a lightened pumpkin. Egg beaters whirl, spoons spin round in bowls of butter and sugar. Vanilla sweetens the air, ginger spices it, melting, nose-tingling odors saturate the kitchen, suffuse the house, drift out to the rolled-on puffs of chimney smoke. In 4 days, our work is done. 31 cakes, dumpled with whiskey, baked on willow and shelves. Who are they for? Friends, not necessarily neighbor friends. Indeed, the largest share is intended for persons we've met maybe once, perhaps not at all. People who've struck our fancy, like President Roosevelt, like the Reverend and Mrs. J.C. Lucy, Baptist missionaries to Borneo who lectured here last winter, or the little knife grinder who comes through town twice a year, or Abner Packer, the driver of the 6 o'clock bus from Mobile, who exchanges waves with us every day as he passes in a dust cloud whoosh, or the young Winstons, a California couple whose car once, one afternoon, broke down outside the house and who spent a pleasant hour chatting with us on the porch. It is because my friend is shy with everyone except strangers that these strangers and most merest acquaintances seem to us our truest friends. I think yes. Also, the scrapbooks we keep of thank yous on White House stationery. Time to time, communications from California and Borneo, the knife grinder's penny postcards make us feel connected to eventful words beyond the kitchen with its view of a sky that stops. All right, I gotta check something here. I'm kind of waiting on my daughter. I do read The Night Before Christmas to my grandkids every year. I've been doing that for 13 years. So I'm kind of waiting on a message. Maybe I got to message her. Um, now a nude, now a nude, now a new December fig branch grates against the window. The kitchen is empty. The cakes are gone. Yesterday we carted the last of them to the post office, where the Casa stamps turned our purse inside out. We're broke. That rather depresses me, but my friend insists on celebrating. With 2 inches of whiskey left in Ha-Ha's bottle, Queenie has a spoonful in a bowl of coffee. The rest we divide between a pair of jelly glasses. We're both quite awed at the prospect of drinking straight whiskey. The taste of it brings skewed up impressions on our sour shudders. Yeah, whiskey. But by and by we begin to sing, the two of us singing different songs simultaneously. I don't know the words to mine, just come on along to the dark town strutter's ball. But I can dance. That's, but I can dance. That's what I meant to be, a tap dancer in the movies. My dancing shadow frolics on the walls. Our voices rock the chinaware, our giggles, as seen, as if unseen hands were tickling us. Queenie rolls on her back, her paws plow the air. Something like a grin stretches her black lips. Inside of myself, I feel warm and sparky as those crumbling legs, carefree as the wind in the chimney. My friend waltzes around the stove, the hem of her poor calico skirt pinched between her fingers, as though it were a party dress. Show me the way to go home, she sings, her tennis shoes squeaking on the floor. Show me the way to go home. Enter two relatives, very angry, potent with eyes that scold, tongues that scold, that scold. Listen to what they have to say. The words tumbling together into a wrathful tune. A child of 7, whiskey on his breath. Are you out of your mind? Feeding a child of 7 must be loony. Road of ruination. Remember, Cousin Kate. Uncle Charlie's brother-in-law. Shame, scandal, humiliation. Kneel, pray, beg the Lord. Queenie sneaks under the stove. My friend gazes at her shoes. Her chin quivers. She lifts her skirt and blows her nose and runs to her room. Long after the town has gone to sleep and the house is silent, except for the chimings of clocks and the shudder of fading furs, she is weeping into a pillow already as wet as the window's handkerchief. Don't cry, I say, sitting at the bottom of her bed and shivering despite my flannel nightgown and that smells of last winter's cough syrup. Don't cry, I beg, teasing her toes, tickling her feet. You're too old for that. It's because, she hiccups, I am too old. Old and funny. Not funny, fun, more fun than anybody. Listen, if you don't stop crying, you'll be so tired tomorrow we can't go cut a tree. She straightens up. Queenie jumps on the bed to lick her cheeks. I know where we'll find real pretty trees, buddy, and holly too, with berries big as your eyes. It's way off in the woods, farther than we've ever been. Papa used to bring us Christmas trees from there, carry them on his shoulder. That's 50 years ago. Well, well, now I can't wait for morning. Morning, frozen rime lusters, the grass, the sun, round as an orange, round as an orange, and orange as hot weather moons. Balances on the horizon, varnishes the silvered winter woods. A turkey calls. A renegade hog grunts in the undergrowth. Soon the edge of knee-deep, rapid running water. We have to abandon the buggy. Queenie wades the stream first, paddles across, barking complaints at the swiftness of the current, the pneumonia-making coldness of it. We follow, holding our shoes and equipment above our head. A mile more of chasing thorns, burrs, and briars that catch at our clothes. A rusty pine needles brilliant with gaudy fungus and molted feathers. Here, there, a flash, a flutter, an ecstasy of shrillings remind us that not all the birds that have flown south. Always the path unwinds through money, through lemony sun pools and pitch black vine tunnels. Another creek to cross, a disturbed armada of speckled trout froth the water around us, and frogs the size of plates practice belly flops. Beaver workmen are building a dam. On the farthest shore, Queenie shakes herself and trembles. My friend shivers too, not with cold but enthusiasm. One of her hats, ragged roses, sheds a petal as she lifts her head and inhales the piney leaf air. We're almost there. Can you smell it, buddy? She says as though we were approaching an ocean. So, yep. And indeed, it is a kind of ocean. Scented acres of holiday trees, prickly leafed holly, red berries shiny as Chinese bells. Black crows whoop upon them screaming, having stuffed our burlap sacks with enough greenery and crimson and garland and a dozen windows. We set about choosing a tree. It should be, muses my friend, twice as tall as a boy, so a boy can't steal the star. The one we pick is twice as tall as me, a brave, handsome brute that survives 30 hatchet strokes before it keels with a creaking, rending cry. Lugging it like a keel, we commence the long track out. Every few yards, we abandon the struggle, sit down and pant. But we have the strength of triumphant huntsmen, that and the tree barrel. Icy perfume reprieve us, good us. Good. I'm sorry, guys. My diabetes from my eyes is kicking in. um, Many compliments accompany our sunset return along the red clay road to town, but my friend is sly, noncommittal, who passes the red clay road to town. But my friend is sly, passes by the praise, the treasure perched in our buggy, that a fine tree and where it did come from. I'm trying to look here. Not too much left. Yonder ways, she murmurs vaguely, yet a car stops and the rich mill owner's lazy wife leans out and whines. Give you 2 bits cash for that old tree. Ordinarily, my friend is afraid of saying no, but on this occasion, she promptly shakes her head. We wouldn't take $1, the mill's owner's wife reprises. $1 my foot, 50 cents. That's my last offer. Goodness, woman, you can get another one. In answer, my friend gently reflects, I doubt it. There's never two of anything. Home, Queenie slumps by the fire and sleeps till tomorrow, snoring loud as a human. A trunk in the attic contains a shoebox of ermine tails, coils of frazzled tinsel gone gold with age. Shit, they're coming to get me. Shit. Whoops. um, Coils of frazzled tinsel gold with age, one silver star, a brief rope of dilapidated, undoubtedly dangerous candy like light bulbs. Excellent decorations as far as they go, which isn't far enough. My friend wants our tree to blaze like a Baptist window. Hmm. Droops with weighty snows of ornament, but we can't afford the made in Japan splendors at the five and dime, so we do what we've always done sit for days at the kitchen table with scissors and crayons and stacks of colored paper. I make sketches and my friend cuts them out. Lots of cats, fish too, some apples, some watermelons, a few winged angels devised from saved up sheets of Hershey bar tin foil. We use safety pins to attach these creations to the tree. As a final touch, we sprinkle the branches with shredded cotton. My friend, surveying the effect, claps her hands together. Now, honest, buddy, doesn't it look good enough to eat? Queenie tries to eat an angel. I guess eating an angel would be kind of like eating feathers off a chicken. After weaving and ribboning holly wreaths all for all the front windows, our next project is the fashioning of family gifts. Tie-dye scarves for the ladies. For the men, home brewed lemon and licorice and aspirin syrup to be taken at the first symptoms of cold after hunting. But when it comes time for making each other's gift, my friend and I separate to work secretly. I would like to buy her a pearl handled knife, a radio, a whole pound of chocolate covered cherries. Instead, I'm building her a kite. She would like to give me a bicycle. Instead, fairly instead I'm fairly certain that she's building me a kite. The same as last year and the year before. The year before we exchanged slingshots. All of which is fine by me, for we are champion kite flyers who study the wind like sailors. My friend, more accomplished than I, can get a kite aloft when there isn't enough breeze to carry clouds. I gotta see. No message from her yet. Christmas Eve afternoon, we scrape together a nickel and go to the butcher's to buy Queenie's traditional gift, a good gnawable beef bone. The bone, wrapped in funny paper, is placed high in the tree near the silver star. Queenie knows it's there. She squats at the foot of the tree, staring up in a trance of greed. Then bedtime arrives, she refuses to budge. Her excitement is equaled by my own. I kick the covers and turn my pillow as though it were a scorching summer's night. Somewhere a rooster crows, falsely, for the sun's still on the other side of the world. Buddy, you are awake. It's my friend calling from her room, which is next to mine, and an instant later she is sitting on my bed holding a candle. Well, I can't sleep a hoot, she declares. My mind's jumping like a jackrabbit. Buddy, do you think Mrs. Roosevelt will serve our cake at dinner? We huddle in the bed, and she squeezes my hand. I love you. Seems like your hand is used to be so much smaller. I guess I hate to see you grow up. But you're grown up. We will still be friends. I say always, but I feel so bad, buddy. I wanted so bad to give you a bike. I tried to sell my Cameo Papa gave me. I wanted to say Camaro, but it's Cameo. She hesitates as though embarrassed. I made you another kite. Then I confess I made her one too, and we laugh. The candle burns too short to hold. Out it goes, exposing the starlight, the stars squinting in the window by a visible caroling that slowly daybreaks silences. Possibly we doze, but the beginnings of dawn splash us like cold water. We're up, wide-eyed, wandering while we wait for others to waken. Quite deliberately, my friend drops a kettle on the bed kitchen floor. I tam dance in front of closed doors. One by one, the household emerges, looking as though they'd like to kill us both. But it's Christmas, so they can't. First, a gorgeous breakfast, then everything you can imagine, from flapjacks and fried squirrel to hominy grits and honey in the comb, which puts everyone in a good humor except my friend and me. Frankly, we're so impatient to get to the presents, we can't eat a mouthful. Well, I'm disappointed. Who wouldn't be? With socks, a Sunday school shirt, some handkerchiefs, a hand me down sweater, and a year's subscription to a religious magazine for children. The Little Shepherd. It makes me boil, it really does. My friend has a better haul, a sack of Satsumas. That's her best present. She is proudest, however, of a white wool shawl knitted by her married sister. But she says her favorite gift is the kite I built her, and it is very beautiful, though not as beautiful as the one she made me, which is blue and scattered with gold and green good conduct stars. Moreover, my name is painted on it, Buddy. Buddy, the wind is blowing. The wind is blowing and nothing will do till we've run a pasture below the house where Queenie has scooted to bury her bone. There, plunging through the healthy waist-high grass, we unreel our kites, feel them twitching in the string like sky fish, and swim into the wind. Satisfied, sun warmed, we sprawl into the grass and peel satsumas and watch our kites cavort. Soon I forget the socks and hand-me-down sweater. I'm as happy as if we'd already won the $50,000 grand prize, the coffee naming contest. My, how foolish I am, my friend cries, suddenly alert, like a woman remembering too late she has biscuits in the oven. You know what I've always thought? She asked in a tone of discovery, and not smiling at me, but a point beyond. I've always thought a body would have to be sick and dying before they saw the Lord. And I imagined he came in, that when he came, it would be like looking at the Baptist window, pretty as colored glass, with the sun pouring through, such a shine you don't know it's getting dark. And it's been a comfort to think that shine taken away all the spooky feeling. But I'll wager, but I'll wager it never happens. I'll wager that the very end a body realizes the Lord has already shown himself. But things as they are, her hands circled in a gesture that gathers clouds and kites and grass and Queenie pawing earth over her bone. Just what they've always seen was seeing him. As for me, I could have the world with today in my eyes. This is our last Christmas together. Life separates us. Those who know best decide that I belong in a military school. And so follows a miserable succession of bugle blowing, prisons, grim reveal ridden summer camps. I have a new home too, but it doesn't count. Home is where my friend is, and where I never go. And there she remains, pottering around the kitchen, alone with Queenie, yet alone. For a few Novembers, she continues to bake her fruitcakes, single-handed. Not as many, but some, and of course, she always sends me the best of the bunch. Also, in every letter, she encloses a dime wadded in toilet paper. See a picture show and write me the story. But gradually in her letters, she tends to confuse me with an other friend, the buddy who died in the 1880s. More and more, 13s are not the only days she stays in bed. A morning arrives in November, a leafless, birdless coming of winter morning, when she cannot rouse herself to exclaim, "Oh my, it's fruitcake weather." And then it happens. I know it. A message saying so merely confirms a piece of news some secret vein had already received, severing from me an irreplaceable part of myself, letting it loose like a kite on a broken string. This is why, walking across a school campus on this particular December morning, I kept searching the sky as if I expected to see, rather like hearts, a lost pair of kites hurling toward the heaven. That, my friends, is A Christmas Story by Truman Capote. I did get through it. Luckily, I got through it. um, Hey Stubbs, how you doing? How you doing, brother? Merry Christmas to you. Um, I'm now 2 hours into this live. I'm thinking one more book, and then I'll read the Night Before Christmas. Checking my phone here. Usually I don't read the night before Christmas to my grandkids till about 6:30, 7 o'clock. So I've got some time yet. This one, because I'm from Minnesota, this one is Santa is Coming to Minnesota, written by Steve Smallman, illustrated by Robert Dunn and Jim Mitchell. Sorry, Stubbs, they don't have Santa Comes to Utah, but we know he's coming. Santa is coming to Minnesota. Well, maybe. Well, boomed Santa, have all the children from Minnesota been good this year? Well, mostly, answered the little old elf as he bustled across the busy workshop to Santa's desk. Santa peered down at the elf from behind the tall, teetering piles of letters that the children of Minnesota had sent him. Mostly, asked Santa, looking over the top of glasses. Yes, but they've all been especially good in the last few days of the elf, said the elf. Jolly good, chuckled Santa. Then we'd better get their presents loaded up. Even though the sack of presents was really, really big, and the elves were really small, they seemed to have no trouble loaded into Santa's sleigh, though they managed to fit a big sack onto one little sleigh, even though they didn't know, but somehow they did. Splendid, boomed Santa. We are ready to go. Not quite, Santa, said the little old elf. One of our reindeer is missing. Missing? Each reindeer is missing. Which reindeer is missing, Santa? The youngest one, Santa, said the elf. It's his first flight tonight. I've called him, but just then a young reindeer strolled up, munching on a large carrot. Where have you been? Asked Santa. The youngest reindeer was crunching so loudly that it was no wonder he hadn't heard the little old elf calling. Oh, well, never mind, said Santa, giving the reindeer a little wink. He took out his Santa nav and tapped the coordinates for Minnesota. This'll guide us to Minnesota in no time. Crunch, 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 crunch. And if you can imagine me saying this in Scandinavian tone, don't you know? You know, like Minnesota, you'll get a laugh. With a flick of the reins and a jerk to the harness, off they went, racing through the sky. Ho, 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 laughed Santa. We'll soon have these presents delivered to the land of 10,000 lakes. Santa's sleigh flew through the starry night, heading south and across Hudson Bay. On they flew to the wintry air over the boundary waters, into the wink of an eye. Through the sleigh was flying above the Iron Range and onto the Twin Cities. The youngest reindeer was very excited. He had never been away from the North Pole before. They had just crossed over Breezy Point when suddenly they ran into a blizzard. Snowflakes whirled around the sleigh. They couldn't see a thing. The youngest reindeer was getting a bit worried, but Santa didn't seem concerned. In 2 miles, said the Santa nav, in a bossy lady's voice. Keep left at the next door. But, ma'am, Santa blustered, I can't see any stars with all this snow. Soon they were hopelessly lost. Then through the howling blizzard, the youngest reindeer heard a faint ringing sound. Ding dong! He looked over the old reindeer with the red nose, but had his head down. There was that sound again. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. The youngest reindeer turned around, looked at Santa, but Santa wasn't listening. He seemed to be arguing with a little box with buttons on it, much like a cell phone. With a flick of the harness and the jerk of the reins, the youngest reindeer gave a sharp tug and headed off toward the sound of the bells, pulling Santa and his sleigh behind him. "Whoa!" cried Santa, pulling his hat straight. "What's going on?" Then, to his surprise, he heard the ringing sound. "Well done, young reindeer!" he shouted cheerfully. "It must be the bells of St. Paul's Cathedral. Don't worry, children, Santa is coming." Then suddenly, crunch! The sleigh hit something as it plummeted through the snow clouds. "You have arrived," said Santa Nap unhelpfully. Finally, when the snow had died down and the clouds parted, Santa discovered exactly where they were, stuck right on the very top of the Minnesota State Capitol. "Everybody pull!" The reindeer pulled with all their might, until at last, with a screeching noise, the sleigh scraped clear of the dome, and Santa steered them safely past the Minnesota History Center, above the Minnesota Children's Museum, over the Mississippi River, and down the Minnehaha Park. Luckily, there was no real damage done, but the packages had all been jumbled up. Santa quickly sorted out the presents in order again. "All right," said Santa. "Thanks to this young reindeer, I know where we are now. Don't worry, children, Santa is coming." Santa drove his sleigh expertly from rooftop to rooftop all over Minnesota, popping in and out of chimneys as fast as he could go. There were big chimneys in Bloomington and small chimneys in St. Cloud. He squeezed down thin chimneys in Minneapolis and plummeted down fat chimneys in Mankato. The youngest reindeer was amazed at how quickly they went. Santa never seemed to get tired at all, and it looked like the children in Minnesota were going to be very lucky this year, but the youngest reindeer was starting to feel a bit weary and quite hungry too. In house, in house after house, Santa delivered inside his sack for packages of every shape and size. He piled them under the Christmas trees and carefully piled up the stockings with surprises. In house after house, the children of Minnesota had left out a plate of cookies, a small glass of milk, and a big crunchy carrot. Santa took a little bite out of each cookie, a tiny sip of milk, wiped his beard, and popped the carrots into his sack. From Winona to Roseau County, from Duluth to Moorhead, from Carver County to Rochester, and all the places in between, Santa and his sleigh visited every house in Minnesota. Funny, he hasn't visited mine, not in a long time. Santa delivered presents to Andrew, Allison, Anna, Arabella, Archie, Ashley. The list went on and on and on. But there's no Rob or Shadow or any of that in this book. Finally, Santa had delivered the last present on his long Minnesota list. "Great moons and stars," sighed Santa. "It's past midnight, and my sack seems as heavy as ever. I hope I haven't forgotten anyone." Santa opened his sack to check, but it was full of juicy, crunchy carrots. Santa divided the carrots among all the reindeer. "Well done," he said, patting the youngest reindeer on the nose. But the youngest reindeer didn't hear him. He was too busy munching. Then it was time to set off for home. Santa reset his Santa nav for the North Pole. And soon they were speeding over the Stone Arch Bridge, across Minneapolis, St. Paul, and over the lakes through the crisp, starry night. Ho, 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 laughed Santa. Merry Christmas, Minnesota. But then again, you can replace it with any state, the names of the towns in your state. You know. Um, but that's Minnesota, you know. And now, my final story of the night is the night before Christmas, illustrated by Christian Birmingham. Written by Moore, I do believe. It does not say who it was written by at all. So, yeah, don't you know? We will now do the night before Christmas. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care. I had hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled, all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mamma in her kerchief, and I in my cap, had just settled down for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there rose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters, and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave lustre of midday to the objects below. When, to what my wandering eyes should appear, but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. A little low driver, so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them all by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donder and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop, the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys, in St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my beard, as I drew in my head, and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. Make sure I get the right page here. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples how merry, his cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed, like a bowl full of jelly. He was a chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him, in spite of myself. With a twink of his eye and a twist of his head, soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying a finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, as he drove out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night." Again, The Night Before Christmas by Clement C. Moore. I just seen that there. Illustrated by Christian Birmingham. Again, I'd like to thank you all for sticking with me for these 2.5 hours of reading a few stories and getting through a Christmas story. And now, as I can, it is 53 degrees outside of here in lovely Minnesota, but I don't know what's happening outside. I don't see it. It's supposed to rain. It might be raining, but either way, Santa's going to make an appearance. So my bit of advice is behave, do what you can to others. You know, don't want that lump of coal in your stocking. No, 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 no. So with that, everyone, from my heart to yours, from my home to yours, Merry Christmas to each and every single one of you. May tomorrow, tonight, and tomorrow, and every day after be filled with happiness, love, light. Merry Christmas.